Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning and welcome to a Tuesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We got a good show lined up. We'll have Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show here momentarily. Then we'll have Frank Frangie, voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars, get his thoughts on what's going on with Trevor Lawrence and crew over there. Talk about their new facility they have and many other things. So shoot us your text. On the Titan MR text line, which is 352-353-7465. You can also shoot us messages on YouTube as well, and we'll try to get to those. Got a lot to talk about. Zach, Buddy's wanting you to call him, so take care of that. He has computer issues. Buddy always has computer issues. Anyway, college football is in full effect. Everybody is cranked up. We'll take your thoughts on, and we'll talk to Buddy about this realignment, which I absolutely can't stand. But it's the way of the world. College athletics is no longer what we thought, and it is what it is. You'll enjoy the games. Football, it won't be that big a deal, but other sports it's going to destroy. Andy says on Facebook Live, the latest coaches poll has the Vols ranked 10th. How can that be? They're coming off a good team, a good year last year. They have I think the Gators are 28th in the coaches poll. We'll see. I'm not a Joe Milton guy. I like Josh Heupel, but I think Tennessee takes a step back. I could be wrong. We shall see. I was on Buddy's show last night. A lot of people are very excited about the Gators. Think things are moving in the right direction. I totally agree. I don't know how many people went to practice the other day. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. But I just go back to the data. The data tells you that Billy Napier evaluates very well, and I think he's got some good players on this team that a lot of people are underestimating, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. So it's excuse me, we'll see. I know a lot of people still don't think we have very good players. I think this roster is night and day compared to last year's roster. Greg says, did everyone see Kitna was cleared of all charges? I'd heard something about that. I didn't read about it. Joseph says, if you ain't a Gator, you're Gator bait. All right, we're going to go back to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. You can listen to Buddy on Facebook Live and YouTube every Monday through Thursday about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Buddy, you there, my man? We're gaining on Buddy. Buddy's closing in. All right, he's still joining us. So in the meantime, let me get to this text on the Titan MR text line. I think it came in yesterday. Came from Josh in Mississippi. He said he wanted me to ask JC what he would do if the Gators and Alabama end up having the same regular season record of 9-3. He could see that Bama could lose to Texas, LSU, Auburn, and A&M. It could happen. I could see them losing to those teams except Auburn. I don't think Auburn's going to be very good this year. So anyway, we got you there, buddy.
We do. The modern technology defeated me this morning, and I went to join Zoom. They said, you can't join.
We didn't want you, buddy.
I know.
We didn't want you.
They said, update your Zoom. Update Zoom. They said, we can't update your Zoom. So, but I somehow found you, Shane.
Well, buddy, here's what I do. Anytime I turn on my computer and they want me to update stuff, I don't do it.
Yeah, but I couldn't get in without it.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
But I'm here. I persevered.
Well, buddy, you and I look like we're on the same ball club. We got the same shirt on today.
I like the one you got. How do I buy one of those?
I have a bunch of the scared money don't make money. So
you got to start telling people how we can buy them. Tell us how we can get them.
I just, I don't have like a surplus of all sizes. a bunch of people ordered them from me last year, and then a bunch of people who ordered ended up not paying, and so I'm stuck with a bunch of different sizes. So if anybody wants any, let me know.
You got any size of Omar the tent maker like me?
You know what? I think I do. I think I
Yeah.
had a couple of big fellas that
All right. All
they
right.
contacted me and then never sent payment.
Yeah.
I never sent shipment. That's how it works, buddy. You pay, I send.
Listen, I love your stuff. It's been great. And you let the cat out of the bag last night, though. You really messed me up, man.
I didn't mean to. I
Oh
didn't
my
mean to.
gosh! Now I'm gonna get never hear the last of it. Hats, hats,
What?
hats. The hat thief is in my house, and I get a new
Yeah.
hat, it disappears.
All right. Well, we'll that was my fault. All right, buddy. We talked last night. You had a bunch of people on your
Yeah,
program. I felt like I was on the Brady Bunch. You had all these squares up there.
I know.
Uh,
Hollywood Squares. Yeah,
you feeling better about the Gators, buddy?
I kind of do, and I don't think I've ever felt bad about them. You were the first to jump the shark, as they say, and to jump on the bandwagon. And I know you and I talked about it all summer. I was a little slow to come around, but yeah, I'm feeling a little better than I should be feeling. But I want to make sure that we don't let wishful thinking, factor in our prognostications. You know what I'm saying? Because I really want them to do well. I like this team. I like Billy Napier. I like the coaches. I like his core values. I got a soundbite here, which I'm going to keep and I play every now and then. We're truth tellers. We tell the truth. We play the truth. We are the truth. Live the truth. I love that. I hope it's true because it's really the core value that you need, and I like that part of it. Now, does that immediately produce wins? No, but it's infrastructure. And Shane, you've been on a lot of teams. It's just something about a team that's got its act together. And even if they don't have the season they want, their future, they feel confident they can get it done. And this is getting to be a confident bunch for fall ball. I mean, they're not there, but I like what I'm seeing, and I'm particularly excited about a couple of the groups.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Billy Napier. Like I said, I hope it works out. I think it will work out. He reminds me a lot of Coach Spurrier in a different way.
How?
Coach Spurrier was organized, but not like this dude. Coach Spurrier is
Mhm.
organized in his own way,
Right.
but he has that father figure for each player,
Hmm.
and they do it in a different way. But some of these coaches they talk the game, but they don't walk the game.
Hmm.
Billy Napier is the most humble dude. Buddy, I saw him one time. It was last year, and I think may have been on the Vegas trip. Just going through the hotel, and I was sitting with some friends of mine over in the bar area, and he's walking, I think, from the meeting rooms back up to his room or who. And of course, a couple families stopped him. He sat there and talked to them, and he may have known them. I don't think he did, but not many. I mean, he sat there for 10 or 15 minutes talking to his family.
Hmm.
And usually you don't see coaches, high profile coaches do that. So anyway, long story short, I think he's gonna have a hell of a year. I really do.
Let me make a point to your point real quick, if I can. Precision. You talked about it last night. We talked about it. I told this story. Kermit Bell told me one time when he was coaching high school ball, I learned the passing game, and I learned the route running, and I learned the discipline from Coach Spurrier, even though he didn't play for him. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You better be right on your landmark as a wide receiver, right on it, not 2 inches that way." And he was demon for that kind of stuff. Well, what did you hear about yesterday? Francis talking about practice. Billy Gonzalez is saying not 6.5, not 7.5, but 7 steps on your routes. That precision, Shane, you were part of that. You were part of that system to know and worked on it every day. You guys threw every single day and you worked on the details. People think it was just fun and gun, throw it up. Yeah, no, it was a finely tuned machine that was tuned by constantly doing the same thing and repeating the way you throw the football. Where do you hold it, Shane? Up here, right? And that's ingrained in your brain forever. So that kind of precision requires discipline, and I think that's the kind of thing that this team is going to have.
Yeah, they're going to be a lot better than people think. That's all I can tell you. Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melton Law. Play calling can keep it close. Billy showed that last year. All I'm worried about is defense. If we are better on defense, we will win 8 games easy. We will be better on defense. And one reason why is we are looking more like an SEC front seven defense. We still ain't there. We might be there next year, but we got to play with what we got. But it looks like night and day to me in the front seven defensively. And I think that will allow us to win some games and get off the field. Everybody wants to talk about getting off the field third and whatever. And they always want to blame the secondary. We didn't have great safety play last year, but I've told people we have legitimate NFL corners. And people now that doesn't mean teams aren't going to complete passes, okay? Because you complete passes, it's just hard to play DB. But I think this defense will be a lot better because of the guys they've brought in from the transfer portal and signing classes in the front seven on defense.
We heard Edgar last night, Edgar Thompson, talking about his observation, a little concerned about Camp Jackson, the big old 300 and however big he is, 75 pounds, that he's kind of gained a little weight. But I've heard a couple other coaches talking about those new D linemen they got in the transfer portal at media days. And they said these guys are legitimate football players, and they're front. Now, they don't have a lot of depth, but they got young players. They got these two big studs in on transfer portal. Look, you know this. If you got playing defense, if you can't stop the running game, never mind the corners, they're going to be in trouble all day. So I think that's the thing I like. And the linebackers, look, I mean, what the names we heard talk about last night. Billy said last night he likes this group a lot. He didn't even wince about the injury that he had at linebacker because he thinks he's got young players who can play. This is what we want to find out. This is what I call battlefield promotions. You don't know until you get them out there in the field what's going to happen, Shane. And Billy seems pretty confident about this group, even though they're not much more than 2 deep.
Yeah, very true. On Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel. Reggie says Napier's demeanor reminds him of Tony Dungy. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
John Jett, not Joan Jett, says, Shane, do you think Mertz can be a game manager? I think Graham Mertz is a good football player. I think he's a very good quarterback. We don't need him to be a game manager. Just let him play football. Like I said on your show last night, or maybe it was on my show, everybody thinks we're going to be run heavy.
You said on your show.
Are we going to run the football? Yes. We have a stable of really solid running backs. 2 that a lot of people don't know about came from Houston and Tulane that are going to help.
Cam Carroll.
But I'm telling you right now, I nobody's told me this, but by watching, they are more confident throwing the football this year than they were last year. And I think you're going to see that. This game manager stuff, I think Graham Mertz will end up being about 5th or 6th in the league in quarterback from yardage and things like that. That's my guess.
So you don't see run, pass. You think they'll throw?
No, I think you're going to see the ball being thrown on first down.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now, they trust him. He's accurate. They love these damn wide receivers I talked about on your show, especially the young ones.
They do.
You're going to see a different type of offense this year than you saw last year.
You got Billy Gonzalez. I'm sorry, Billy Gonzalez and these young guys, Aiden Mizell. These all these guys that we mentioned last week, Gene Wilson. These guys are really good-looking players. I have a great confidence in Coach Gonzalez. I think he is a masterful teacher. And he's got 3 really good young wide receivers, plus a couple of guys coming back. They ain't too bad. They're going to be able to throw the football, Shane.
Yeah, Andy asked, Shane, if you were calling the first offensive play against the Utes, what would you do? Well, a lot of factors come into that, Andy. Good question. It depends on where you get the ball. It also depends on I have not watched Utah yet because I don't know what their tendencies are on first down. Are they a zone team? Are they a man team? Do they like to blitz on first down? All that stuff you got to take into consideration. Having said that, I'm coming out firing away. Doesn't mean a deep shot, just a route, some type of pass route or combination where you have, maybe a 20-yard completion or a 10, or you check it down to your running backs.
What was your first play with Spurrier? What did you call your first play with Steve?
Our first play in my career was trips left, Z short, blue slide Z deep cross.
What's it
And
mean?
so we had a deep guy on a touchdown post. We had Ernie Mills on about a 25-yard crossing route, and then you had your tight end on a shallow cross, and we hit Ernie for about 28 yards. So
There you go.
yeah,
Statement.
let's draw that play up.
Yeah,
We'll call
let's do
that
that
one.
one. Yeah, we'll call that one. I like that. What's it called again?
It was Z deep cross, and they ended up once I graduated and Cresser transferred, they ended up calling it Cresser.
What was the Ernie Mills play?
Ernie Mills is a two-man concept where the slot receiver runs a 12 to 14-yard dig or end cut, and then the outside guy runs a touchdown post. It's a quarters beater, and Ernie caught so many of them. Coach Spurrier named it after him, Mills.
Shane, you got to get a board so you can draw things up sometimes, okay?
Yeah.
Explain to us. Really, you didn't do that.
And instead of Mill, in my offense, coaching high school, because you gotta teach it where the kids can really understand it.
Mm-hmm.
That route I just described is called pin.
Okay.
You got a post with an end.
Okay.
That's real difficult football right there, isn't it, buddy? And then if you want the post with the out, you call it pout. So you got pin and pout.
Yeah, I like that.
Now, my fourth grade team knew that kind of stuff. So it's how you teach it and all that stuff. So anyway, Reggie says Napier said they weren't changing the travel plans for altitude. They're not doing anything differently. They're flying out on Wednesday. We play on Thursday. Like I've said many times on here, he has a plan. He's had this plan since last year, but nobody in the NFL changes their plans when they go play the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, let me tell you about that. I covered it for 7 years. I saw teams come in there with oxygen masks. I saw them do all kinds of things. The Broncos loved it when they did that because they knew they had something to worry about. So just go play football. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
You're in shape.
Yeah. It's no different than when Buffaloes and the Bengals and all these teams I played up north when we went to play Miami.
Yeah. Hot.
You just drink a lot of fluid, go play football.
There you go.
All right. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We got Buddy Martin here on the Titan No More hotline. We'll have Frank Frangie, the voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I love Frank. Ask Frank about his khaki pants, okay? That's all you got.
His khaki pants?
Yeah, ask him about his khaki pants. So.
All right.
He'll know
This is Greg in Fort Myers on the Titan No More text line. He says, don't get the hype over Marshall at corner. He plays well with the ball and got ate up by slants and hitches. He's a good player, man.
No, man.
He's a stud.
That. He's a
stud. He'll be a first-round pick.
Absolutely.
He'll be a first-round pick.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. So I just had a question, and I just
Well, while you're looking at your question, let me just say happy birthday to Lee Corso today.
Oh, wow. How old is he?
88. And my late wife, Joni, loved Lee Corso. And she loved the way Kirk Herbstreit stood with him and took care of him and always touched her heart. So happy birthday, Coach Corso.
He's still going to be on game day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they go to Charlotte for North Carolina, South Carolina. Week 1.
I really ticked off about taking my man Gene Wojciechowski off there because he was
great. He told great stories.
And David Pollock was pretty good too, by the way.
He's outstanding.
Both of them. They're stupid ass, excuse my French, ESPN decisions they make because they want to go hire some wacky kicker. They got to get rid of some of these dudes, man.
You know, buddy, I was somewhere the other day and somebody was asking me something about, did you watch this? I seriously have not turned on ESPN.
No, you
in my house.
My show, you said that.
And since the Gators lost to LSU playing for the national championship football, I don't watch sport. I couldn't even tell you who hosts Sports Center now. Wow. I don't watch any of those shows.
Nobody you care about, believe me.
Asa says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melvin Law, morning QB and Buddy. The latest on Cam Rising is his ACL is coming around, but he probably will be very limited. That's a great segue, leading up to the game because I think the world of Cam Rising. I mean, he played a hell of a game here last year. He's a really good football player, but a lot of his game is with his legs, and I just don't know how he can play.
That's a great point because if he can't run, then you got him because that's where he killed Florida was running. that's a weapon for him. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if they play him. I'm sure he wants to
They'll put
play,
him
but
in.
I just know
They'll put him in some plays.
we'll see. Brandon says, I'll listen to the Sunshine Scooter all day over Sleepy Joe. I guess he's referring to Joe Biden and
Let's
Lee
not bring
Corso.
politics into it. I'm sick of politics. If I want, I'll go watch Fox or CNN. This is a sports show, okay?
That's right. All right, buddy. We got a text here on the Titan Mar text line from John down in Miami, Florida. He says, buddy, it's back to about Graham Mertz. It's long about Graham Mertz.
All right.
He goes, could Graham Mertz be one of the worst starting quarterbacks we've ever had in Florida football history?
No.
No, he is a really good football player.
Listen to what Shane's telling you. Listen to Shane. He knows the position. He's seen the guy play. He just said he thinks Mertz will finish right 4th or 5th in the league in passing. Why would he be the worst starting quarterback? Get off of this thing, man. He's a good player. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had offers from Ohio State, Alabama. He was in not a good situation.
Urban wanted him, right?
I talked to Urban about him and said, yeah, he said he liked him. He liked the way he threw. He likes his intelligence. He tried to make him a Buckeye. He wanted him. Why he went to Wisconsin, I don't know. But look, folks, you're misinformed here. Get up to speed.
All right, we got a Facebook Live question, not Facebook Live, YouTube question from Chris.
I love YouTube. Said, our new shows on YouTube is doing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get acclimated to all this. It's way too. I need more screens. I think Billy has definitely improved the roster, but is the roster capable of winning 8 games? Vegas, SEC analysts, and anonymous coaches don't think so. Well,
what do they know?
I will say this.
What the hell do they know, Shane?
That's true. That is very true, because when he says the anonymous coaches, again, the coaches top 25 has the Gators at number 28.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the message, Chris. I'm telling you right now, I don't care what the SEC analysts say. Again, it goes back to this, buddy. I firmly believe it with all my heart. And this is not taking shots at anybody. But when you've won only 6 games the last 2 years, okay, and you lose the 4th pick in the draft at the most important position, the general public and people around the country think you are going to be a worse football team. Would you agree with that analysis?
It's a perception. And folks, listen, just remember this. You have so many people coming in to call this. These guys they haven't been watching practice. They haven't been talking to assistant coaches. They haven't been interviewing some of the players. Look, I trust certain people on certain topics. If I can't trust Shane Matthews about quarterback, I give up. He knows what he's talking about. I believe him.
Well, I mean, I'm wrong, but
no, you're not wrong.
When I look at quarterbacks, I look at it differently than the average person. The average fan loves the splash plays. I get it. Splash plays don't win you football games, people. You got to be a consistent player. You add splash plays to that, now you are a phenomenal player. Caleb Williams, for example, he is consistent and has 5 or 6 splash plays. Why he won the Heisman Trophy. Okay. Is Graham Mertz going to win the Heisman Trophy? No. But he is going to be, he reminds me, I keep telling people, he looks like a quarterback that would have been here when Steve Spurrier was coaching.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, a guy who's fundamentally sound, drops back, knows where to go to the football, and is extremely accurate.
Let me ask you these questions fundamentally. All right. How many years did you play in Florida?
3.
How many SECs did you win?
2.
Okay, you should have won 3, but you won 2. Okay. How many years did you play in the NFL?
Well, I was on a roster for 14 years, but I didn't play a whole lot because I was little.
But what were the teams you played for?
Bears, Bengals, Panthers, Redskins, Dolphins, and Bills.
Browns? You didn't play for the Browns. Okay. So you must have had a little bit of ability and a little bit of knowledge on how to play the position of quarterback. Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, they want to keep hiring you. All right. And then what do you do now? What's your job besides this show?
Well, I sell uniforms. I
No,
am
you're
the
the
color
commentator on the
I'm the
broadcast of the
color
Gators.
analyst. Color
You're
analyst.
the guy. Okay, you're the guy they entrusted to tell people about this team. Folks, listen to Shane. Okay, is he
Yeah.
right all the time? No, of course not.
No.
Even I'm right sometimes more than he is, but not in the subject of quarterbacks. This man knows what he's talking about. Get off this hate train, or what do you want to call it, for Graham Mertz. He's going to be a good player. Get over it and move on and have some fun. Root for your team. Watch them play. Then make a judgment. We'll see. I look. I wouldn't bet my house on anything, but I'd almost bet my house on Graham Mertz being a good quarterback.
He's going to be a very good quarterback, and he's not going to be some damn game manager. I can promise you that. They're going to trust him to drop back and throw and make good decisions. And we'll see. We'll see. So like I told you, I feel like if he had come to this school with a different logo on his helmet, people would think differently.
Like an
And
A in Alabama.
or just I mean, everybody's always high about Peyton Thorne, who signed with Auburn from Michigan State. They pretty much had the same type of year in the Big Ten. Graham has a lot of experience. He started over 30-something games. So
32. Started 32.
he's going to be perfectly fine. And the people that think we're going to turn around and hand it off a bunch of times, you're going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised. So because they trust him. Buddy, before we let you go, who you got on your program tonight?
We got to use the Tuesday night crew. David Whitley's got a wry sense of humor. We give away stuff from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. By the way, don't forget they have their big day coming up on the 14th. Let's see, 12, 13, is that right? Day 12, 13, 14th?
It's Monday.
It's a month, 14th, yeah. Gridiron Grill, it's obviously they're celebrating their second anniversary. What a weapon that place is for recruiting, Shane. It's really become quite the place. And then we have Lauren Meadows, Coach Meadows, we call him. He gives away stuff from there for his trivia. So it'll be fun. Come join us tonight. We're on YouTube now. Shane, I hate to say it, but we're killing it on YouTube, man.
That's awesome.
Please sign up. Subscribe.
I think we're on YouTube too, but we don't. Well, I don't know how it all works, but we're on all.
Trust me, YouTube is where everybody's going. So you check us out, Buddy Morning Show on YouTube.
Mike says Facebook Live. He said, where'd it go? He said he talked to the stadium manager when he was in Chicago many years ago. He loved Shane. I got a tour of Soldier Field because I mentioned Shane. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Don't mention my name around Chicago too often. Hey, but before I get you out of here, this day in sports brought to you by our good friends at Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. 2004. I don't know if you probably were there, buddy. John Elway was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Were you there?
I wasn't there, but I covered Elway for many years, and I know it was a great moment. Yeah. John was a hell of a player. I put in my top 5 quarterbacks. I think he was his legs, his ability to throw the football, make plays happen, his grit, the famous helicopter play. I was a big Elway fan. I loved covering him for 7 years. And I remember when they won the Super Bowl, the owner of Pat Bowlen said, "This one's for John." So, yeah, that's a great day for John.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time, Buddy Martin.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you next week, my man.
Thank you, Shane.
That's Buddy Martin from Gator Bait Media. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. We're going to take a quick time out. We come back and we'll be joined by the voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Frank Frangie. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar.
If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is head ball coach Steve Spurrier, and I'm here with my wife Jerry and our good friend Sherry Houston, the executive director of the Ronald McDonald House Charities of North Central Florida. We're thrilled to announce that the 2-year anniversary of our restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, is coming up on August 14th. Last year, we had so much fun celebrating with everybody that we're doing it bigger and better this year. We're hosting a special dinner and celebration that will include a chef's choice of premium buffet or your favorite Spurrier Gridiron Grill menu, including a filet mignon carving station, shrimp and grits, short rib risotto, wonderful seafood options, and many dessert options also.
Like my famous chocolate chip cookies.
Proceeds being donated to the local Ronald McDonald House.
Thrilled to once again partner with Coach Jerry and the Spurrier Gridiron team to raise funds for the Ronald McDonald House, benefiting families and children experiencing medical emergencies.
Spurrier's Gridiron Grill will be donating 11% of all of our money from food and 66% of drink sales to the Ronald McDonald House.
Go to spurriers.com right now and reserve a ticket before they sell out.
We'll have wonderful food, special guests, and a limited edition of the 2nd-year anniversary collector's coins, as well as prizes like a dinner with me and Jerry. We couldn't have become one of the busiest and most successful restaurants in the Southeast without your support. So we want to celebrate with the most important people of our team, and that's you.
I want to celebrate with some of those cookies. Do you have any of those?
Sure do. Right here for you.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point is the flagship restaurant of the Florida Gators, the hottest restaurant in Florida in the heart of Gator Nation. It's Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Check them out at spurriers.com. Don't forget you can go get your tickets at spurriers.com for Monday, August 14th, the 2-year anniversary of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Let's head to the Titan MR hotline now. We're joined by the voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Frank Frangie. Good morning, Frank. How you doing, my man?
Shane, I'm doing well, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on. What's going on?
Yeah. Before we jump into Jaguar talk, you've been broadcasting a long time, Frank, and you're a baseball guy. I saw on Twitter the gentleman, I think his name's Kevin Brown, that broadcast the Orioles game, got suspended. What did he get suspended for?
Yeah, that thing has gone viral, and I'm glad it has. Sometimes owners and management are so freaking insecure. I mean, the guy said, look, the team hasn't beaten the Rays in forever. We've beaten them more times now than we've beaten them in the last 2 years. And that upset the owner, I guess. And so he got yanked off. The good thing about that story is, Shane, is it's gone so viral that everybody's talking about it. And everybody's thinking, what are you thinking to the Orioles? So my guess is he gets reinstated pretty quick. Overreaction by an insecure owner. That's my read on it.
Yeah. Before we jump into the Jags' actual on the field stuff, how great is their new facility?
Shane, I can't believe it. It's one of the most beautiful facilities I've seen. Now, we've practiced with a lot of the teams. Minnesota's the best I've ever seen. But we've practiced at Minnesota, at Baltimore, which has a great facility. At New England, as you can imagine, that's a great facility. I mean, you play in the league forever. You see a lot of those facilities. I've seen about 5 or 6 of them. This is better than any of them. It's unbelievable. It's great for the fans. There's a lot of cover, but everything for the players, from the locker room to the recovery area to the team room, the team rooms, is pretty amazing. You know what? It costs $80 million, and it's probably worth every bit of it, man. It is a gorgeous facility. Now, look, the big thing is when they rebuild the stadium, which is in about 4 or 5 years. But it's a great facility. It's everything it was cracked up to be. It really is.
Have you tried the urinals that track your level of hydration?
I have not. And I'm an older guy. We need to stay hydrated, all right? So I need to test that. I haven't tested it yet. That's bad on me. I need to.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I thought that was interesting. We had a Facebook Live question here brought to you by Meldon Law. It's from Buck. He wants to know what kind of reps Ventrell Miller is getting.
You know, he was hurt to start, so he wasn't fully cleared until the last day or two. He's going to be okay. He's going to be a special teams player. Their two starting inside linebackers are pretty good. Foye Oluokun, who's led the league in tackles the last 2 or 3 years, and Devin Lloyd, a first-rounder last year. That's the two inside guys, Shane. Chad Muma, who they also drafted last year in the 3rd round, is kind of the third guy. Ventro's got to beat out Shaq Quarterman, the former Miami player, to be the 4th guy. But I think they like him. He's tough. He's going to be a good special teams player. He'll probably be the 4th inside linebacker. He'll make the team. He's just now getting started, though, so he hasn't had a lot of reps. Yesterday, they tackled to the ground really for the first time and maybe the only time in camp, but he wasn't real involved in that. But Ventro's going to be fine. They like him here. I can assure you of that.
Let's stay on the defensive side of the ball. I think we'll talk offense, and I think the Jags are going to be very good on offense. What do they need to do to take that next step defensively?
Yeah, they got to rush the passer, Shane. And this is a league where you have to have a quarterback and you have to have somebody that can affect the quarterback. I've always said this. In big level college football, we've talked about this with the Gators, you and I have, and in the NFL, you need quarterback and defensive line. If you have a really good quarterback and really good defensive line, you got a chance to have a good football team. So they got to rush the passer. They didn't rush the passer very well last year. The two outside linebackers, Trayvon Walker, the 1st overall pick, and Josh Allen, a 7th overall pick, haven't been good enough. So they'll be okay in the back end. They'll play the run very well. They're stout at the line of scrimmage. But they got to rush the passer, man. That's the big thing. And a lot of people thought they may sign Yannick Ngakoue or Leonard Floyd or Frank Clark or Justin Houston just signed the other day, one of these pass rushers. They didn't sign any of them. So they're counting on those two guys. Caleb Chason, a former LSU guy who's also a first-round pick. Man, they got to get better at rushing the passer, Shane. That's the big thing the Jags have to do better.
Well, offensively, you got Trevor Lawrence, who had a heck of a year last year. They add Calvin Ridley, who I think is phenomenal. Just looking at the weapons they have at all the skill positions, is this the best skill guys the Jaguars have had? Now, I know you had Brunell, Fred Taylor, and the two receivers, Jimmy Smith and Keenan.
Right.
But could these guys be as good?
Yeah, they can. Well, first of all, it's by far the best group other than that. This will be the 29th year they've had a franchise here, Shane. Other than the group you just cited, Mark and Fred and Jimmy and Keenan, they've had nothing like that. I mean, it's been a drought like you can't imagine in terms of offensive skill. This group will be at least like that group. I think it'll be better. Remember, now we're in the passing age now. We're in the RPO age. Everybody plays faster. There's more horizontal football than there's ever been, so there's more things the offense can do. No one's under center anymore. So I think because of the way they play now, the numbers will be better. But yeah, I think this will be the most explosive offense the Jags have ever had. There's really no holes. Last year they were very good on offense. What they didn't have was that take the top off the defense guy, and that's what Calvin Ridley can give you. And boy, dude, you're right. Watching him at practice, he's different now. He's a special kind of cat. You know, when the Gators played in the 2006 and 7 and 8, when you saw Percy Harvin practice, he was different than everybody else. You know, when you see a guy out there that's just different than the other guys, he catches your eye. This guy's different than the other guys, the way Percy was with those other guys then. So, no, they're going to be good on offense now. They're going to be legitimately good on offense.
We got a text here on the Titan and Mark text line from Mark in Lexington, Kentucky. He says, Frank, why did Trevor Lawrence turn down Peyton Manning's Netflix show?
Yeah, because he's not that guy. He probably will do it in time. He turned it down this year. Look, he's from Lawrenceville. He's from a small town in Georgia. He's perfect for Jacksonville. He wouldn't fit as well in New York. He's just not that guy. He's a focused guy. He's married. He keeps to himself. For a guy, think about this, Shada, and Mark, to your question. You would think a guy in Jacksonville that only has one team, and he's Trevor Lawrence, right? That he'd be everywhere on every commercial, and he's just not that guy. He's a really unassuming, keep to himself guy. He's not funny. He's a regular guy. He smiles a lot. He's not a guy. Now I can see him doing that in time. He said he watched it and he liked it, but I'm not surprised he didn't do it. That doesn't fit his personality. It really doesn't.
Well, obviously for the offense to produce, offensive line play has been spotty at times for the Jags. How do you like the O-line so far?
It's going to be interesting, Shane. You know, Cam Robinson, the left tackle, is suspended for the first 4 games. So Walker Little is going to be the left tackle, the draft pick out of Stanford. He's pretty good. The center and right guard are very good. Luke Fortner, they drafted him. He's a rookie last year. He picked it up immediately. Hell, he'll be the center here for 10 years. Brandon Sheriff, the right guard, is a really good player. After that, we'll see. They drafted Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma this year. They want him to be the right tackle. They lost Jawan Taylor, the former Gator. in free agency. They don't know left guard yet. Ben Barch has been on the PUP list. Tyler Shatley, a guy that had AFib, so he missed some time the other day, so they don't know who's going to play it. Ultimately, when Cam Robinson comes back, Shane, he'll be the left tackle. They'll move Walker Little inside the left guard, and that's how they'll play. They'll be okay. I don't think it's going to be one of the best 10 lines in the league. It's also not going to be one of the worst 10. I think, look, they need to get the ball out of Trevor's hands. Protect him and get the ball out. They're not like the Titans who need a big line, or the Colts because they're going to run Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor. That's not how they're going to play. They're going to throw the football, and I think it'll hold up okay.
John has a question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon. He says, Frank, do you think ETN will have a great year?
It's funny. Doug Peterson, Shane, said the other day he could have a 1,600-yard rushing year. That's a lot of yards. He had 1,200 last year. What will really help him is they drafted Tank Bigsby out of Auburn. He had too many carries last year. Travis Etienne's a great player because he's explosive. He's the guy that can take a 5-yard run and turn it into a 70-yard run. And there's not that many guys that can do that. But he was playing too much. He was also their third and yard-and-a-half guy. Well, Bigsby, Shane, you watched him at Auburn. He's a good player. He's a big, physical, downhill runner. So I think now they've got another guy to get some of those reps. See, running backs get old, man. Derrick Henry is an anomaly. But for the most part, these NFL running backs, they turn 29 or 30, and there's too much tread on the tires, and they move on. You don't want to see that happen with ETN. So I think the fact that Bigsby's there and he'll get some of those carries is going to help Travis a lot. And Travis is a good player, man. 1,400 total yards last year, 1,100 on the ground. He's going to have a good year. He's a good kid, too, man. He's a fun guy to be around. You probably know Trevor, his brother, who's obviously a really good player. But I think Travis is going to have a good year.
Asa asked here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello, why are the Jags not just building a new dome stadium in the parking lot next to the old one? When it's built, just tear down the old stadium. Done. No one moves. Many teams have done this. So
yeah.
When are they going to start this, and where do you think they're going to play, Frank?
A lot of answers to those questions. A lot to unpack there. First of all, they discussed a new stadium. If they had done that, Shane, it would have been on the old fairgrounds site because Schott has bought that, so he now controls that. That would have been about a $3 million project. They just didn't want to go $3 million. This one's going to be about 1.6, probably $2 million total when you build the area around it. And it's going to look like a new stadium. They're going to change it so much that it's going to feel like a brand new stadium. The grass is still going to be where it is, and that's about it. Everything else is going to be different. So it will feel, and people say, why not build a new one? They essentially are. It's going to feel like a new stadium. I think they'll start it in 26. The Florida-Georgia contact runs through 24 and 25. I think they'll play in Gainesville, Stan. I think they're going to play in your backyard. In fact, I think I'm going to come over and have breakfast at your house right before every game because I think for 2 years, my guess is they're going to be playing down there. They're going to considering Orlando. They consider the Speedway. The Speedway is, and that's not going to work. They can't get that ready. They could do it 4 years and still play in the stadium and then just kind of shut it down during the season. But that doesn't make sense either. I think you're going to see, my guess is they're going to be in Gainesville for 2 years in the 26 and 27 season. Now, look, that hasn't been decided yet. They don't even have a stadium deal yet. But when there's a new mayor, I think when it plays out, they'll have a new deal. The deal will include playing 2 years in Gainesville, and then they'll be back here for the 28th season. I think that's how it's going to play out.
Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice of dentistry in Port Charlotte, surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. A few more minutes with Frank Frangie, the voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars, on the Titan MR hotline. Text on the Titan MR text line comes from Jim. He says, Frank, how good is Doug Peterson?
Look, he's as good. He's 1990, 91, 92 Spurrier. He is. He understands the passing game. He calls the plays. He connects with the quarterback. He's been a quarterback. He's Steve Spurrier in the NFL, as Spurrier was in college in the early 90s. He's just not as funny, Shane. I mean, he is. Other than that, he's a really good play caller. He's built the right culture. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He's the best I've been around now, and I can tell you, he's a play-by-play guy. When we meet with these guys, he's transparent. He's honest. I promise when I go in the booth on Sunday, I have a pretty good idea what they're doing and what they're not doing. I love the guy. I love working with the guy. The team really likes the guy. He's going to win another Super Bowl. I hope it's here. He's won one already. He's that good a coach. Today's coach is an offensive, and Shane, you know this. It's an offensive guy. It's a play caller. You win the game. Ron Zook told me this one time. Ron Zook's a defensive guy, but he spent more time around the offense when he became a head coach around Fedora and Zodbrecker and all those guys. I said, why did you? I thought you're a defensive guy. He said, you win the game with offense. You control the game with offense. And now more than ever, these offensive coaches control the game, and he's a really, really good one. He really is.
Bobby on YouTube says, Frank, being a Gator, give us your prediction of the win total this year.
I think they're going to go 12-0, Shane. I think they're going to go to probably win the national championship. And I got Graham Mertz with winning the Heisman. I think people have underplayed him a little bit. Here's what I think. I know you like him. You like him to win 8 or 9 games, right? You've told me that. I don't know if they can get there because the schedule's hard. I mean, it really is. I mean, but I think they're going to be better than people think. A lot of it's Mertz. Shane, you and I have had this talk 1,000 times. I assume you've had it on your air too. I know you've had this conversation on our air. He's not going to miss the open guy. AR was fantastic to watch, and I hope he's great in Indianapolis, and he's a great kid, and he made spectacular plays. He ran 100 miles an hour to throw the ball from here to Keystone Heights. But you got to hit the swing pass, and you got to hit the easy one 100 times out of 100, right? And I feel like Mertz will do that. I think they were terrible on the defensive front. Their front seven just wasn't very good last year. Maybe as bad as I've seen. I've been watching Florida football since I was in school in the 70s. And I don't remember a front seven as bad as I thought that group was. I hope I'm not hurting anybody's feelings, but I'm on your show answering as honestly as I can. Wasn't very good. It'll be better. The key will be how will they do home game against Tennessee? How are they going to do when they play the Kentuckys and the Missouris and the Vandy's and the South Carolinas, Shane? Team they need to beat. They need to beat those teams. It's okay if you don't beat Georgia or LSU and FSU comes in there. The first step is they've got to get to where they're back to beating Kentucky and South Carolina and Missouri and Vanderbilt. They got to beat those guys. They got to beat Arkansas at home. If they do, they can get to 8 or 9 wins, like you said. If you ask me to set an over and under, I'd say 7 and hope they win a little bit over.
Yeah. All right. 2 more questions and we'll get you out of here.
Yeah.
This one is kind of long, but it's basically about Billy Napier. Your thoughts on Napier? I know you got to speak with him probably out at SEC Media Days up in Nashville. Well, your thoughts on Billy?
I really like him. I don't know him like you do. I don't know him very well at all. But I think 2 or 3 things. Number one, he's a regular guy. I kind of like being around him. In this day and age, Shane, you win by getting those 4s and 5s. There's so many good coaches now. I don't think you're going to win them because you run the lead draw in the post corner like Steve used to do and nobody could defend it. I think now you for the most part, you win with more good players than the other guys have. And I think he's built the system. I know I'm parroting everything else everybody says about Billy Napier, so I'm saying the same stuff, but I do believe that stuff, that he's going to get a lot of really good players. He's built that recruiting system with the facility and the staff, that he's going to get a lot of good players. And that puts you back on par with the LSUs and the Georgias and the Alabamas of the league. I believe that. And then I think he's built the right culture. I think people like him. I think they trust him. So I like Billy Napier. I like what I think he is. You tell me. I don't know if he's a good play caller. I know he's going to call his own plays, and he seems to be locked in on that. I don't know him as an offensive mind. I would defer to you on that, Shane. But big picture from 10,000 feet, what I do see building the corporation, I think he's going to be really good. Build the corporation, develop people, develop players, have the right culture. Is he the right play caller? You tell me, because the rest of it I really like.
Well, I think he's going. I mean, he got the job because he called plays. So we'll see. I think he's going to call a different game this year. I think they trust the quarterback. Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this. Back to the Jaguars and preseason football. Being a guy who played a long time, we hated preseason. Absolutely hated the preseason games and all that. What's the mentality now of NFL teams and coaches especially? They don't need 3 preseason games, do they? They pretty much know who's on their roster. There may be 1 or 2 surprises, but what's the mentality of the preseason right now?
You're dead on. They don't need 3. They probably don't need – they're going to go to 2. They're going to go to 18-2. The team, the owners all want 10 gates, Shane. That's what it is. You want 10 home gates. That's 8 regular, now 9 regular season games, 1 year, 8 the next year, and then the 2 preseason games. So everybody wants those 10 gates. I think what you're going to see them go to is 18 regular season games, whether people like that or not, that's where they're headed, and then 2 preseason games. They went from 4 to 3, and so, as you get work, everybody now practices with somebody else. These joint practices, we're practicing with the Lions next week, so I get a week in beautiful downtown Detroit, Shane. I can't wait. And so we get to do that now, and I think you get way more work out of that. You don't need the preseason game. That's why people aren't going to play very much. I think Trevor's going to play a series this week. My guess is in Detroit he plays a quarter, and the last game here against Miami won't play at all. You get your work when you have joint practices, and you get your work when you practice. They don't need the preseason. Colleges don't have the preseason games. They don't need them at all. It's hot here too. I mean, I mean, it's stifling hot. I think that's where they're getting their work in.
Yep. You get to hang out with Brunel for a while up there in Detroit.
Hey, oh, it's beautiful. I mean, who wouldn't want a week in Detroit? Are you kidding me? It's paradise.
All right. Last thing, I wanted to end with this because a lot of people may not know this, but you started a charity called Walk Off Charities, which if people haven't seen it, let them know how they can go check it out. But what you did with these young men, they went and played in these baseball tournaments. It just was outstanding. Can you briefly just comment on that?
Yes, Shane, thank you for asking, and thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. You know how important it is to me because you've helped me with some stuff involving walk-off charities. We started in 2017. I won't bore people with the minutiae, but the reason we started it is baseball's become a game for suburban kids, for rich kids. You go to these tournaments, and it's a convention of rich white kids, and kids in the inner city haven't had a chance to play baseball, and that's why the Major League Baseball, the populace now. Back in the 70s, 27% of Major League Baseball players were African American, black men born in America. Shane, is now 6%. So these kids don't get a chance. So we built this charity. 6 years now, we put 6,000 kids through it. They play Little League Baseball. They learn youth baseball. They get to go to Cooperstown like these other kids do. And this year, we built a scout travel team. All these travel tournaments, Perfect Game, and half of Sully, 90% of Sully's teams all played Perfect Game, or these great travel tournaments. The Gator Ball people in Gainesville do a great job, Shane. Well, but it's all suburban kids with a lot of money. So we said, what if we took our kids who've been in our program now 6 or 7 years, all African-American kids, all minorities, and paid for them to play in Atlanta and Fort Myers and Tampa and all these Miami, these great tournaments. Now, look, they got their doors blown off some because they're playing against kids. We had one tournament game, Shane, where we showed up and the starting lineup for the other team was LSU commit, Florida commit, Miami commit, Miami commit, and our kids, they're facing 92 and 94 every time they go to the plate. But you know what? It was a cool adventure for them. They loved it. It was the time of their life. And if we have more kids that get to play in these, we'll have more kids from the inner city playing baseball. So that's a long answer to a short question, but we're proud of it. I'm really proud of it, and it's helping children get to do things, and it's breaking down a few barriers. I know that's a cliche, but it's true. And I appreciate you asking about it. It's something I'm really proud of, and we've been able to do it. We're going to expand it and do a whole lot more of it. I really think we are.
It's awesome. There's no question. Well, Frank, we appreciate your time. Enjoy the preseason, and we'll catch up with you when the Jaguars are kicking it off for real.
All right, Shane. Anytime. Thanks for having me on. Take care, buddy.
That's Frank Frangie, voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structures with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it. We stand by it. I want to thank Frank and Buddy for joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. Make sure you tune in. Tomorrow, I think after tomorrow's program, we're going to do the drawing for the dinner at Spurrier's. Make sure you retweet it and do all that. Hope you enjoyed today's program, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.